comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
Ooh, what's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I'm DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shady.
And today is actually, and I can't believe we're already this far, episode 120 of a Funko Popcast. Pretty crazy to me. We have reached 120 episodes thus far. And in today's podcast, the main focus of today's podcast will be the first set of December 2021 Funko Pops. This podcast actually being a part of our 12 days of content that's still continuing, actually day 10 out of 12. It ends on Sunday for our 12 days of content, and then we'll go back to normal for our 3 days of content up until essentially the end of the year. I'm saying that because if you guys listen to our YouTube channel update, you guys would know that we are moving to 5 days of content every single week starting January 3rd. So that's going to be pretty insane. But before we essentially talk about the first set of December 2021 Funko Pop announcements, we're going to have a couple of segments. First off, we'll have the return of What's the Haps, because I feel like this will be the last time this year that we'll actually be able to do a What's the Haps segment. And then we will actually talk about the podcast schedule for the next couple of weeks going into the new year, which I guess we can start off with our segment of What's the Haps, which I guess I'll start off with you, MD, on what's the haps with you, considering I know for sure for me, I haven't really been doing much.
Okay, what is the haps with me? Well, I guess the first place to start is that over the weekend that just passed, me and DK both headed up to Bracebridge to go visit K-Dog and Fish. If you guys haven't watched our K-Dog and Fish video, go check it out. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a great time. We filmed, obviously, that video. We filmed a podcast with them that is over on their channel about wrestlers who are now or have kind of transitioned into acting at some point in their career. And I mean, we had a great time. Hopefully, we're going to plan another trip in the near future, but who knows? And besides that, I mean, I was back to work after the nice 4-day stretch that I had off. I have been playing a lot of NHL 22. For games, I've also been grinding Pokemon Go, like I normally say, but I am so very close to level 40 now, and at level 40, I will be obtaining my shiny Mew, which I'm super pumped for because I've been stuck on this challenge for almost a year now at this point. Other games that I've been playing, I just downloaded Dragon Quest Builders 2 on Xbox because it is free with Game Pass, which is really cool. I did play number 1 on the Switch and I loved it. So it being free on Xbox, I knew I had to download it. So I haven't really gotten too far into it. I only played it for, let's say, 20 minutes the night I downloaded it. But I will be grinding that game, especially kind of on the off season when we're not playing too much NHL. For movies and TV shows that I've been watching, I feel like I haven't really watched many. There's nothing that really comes to mind. I mean, I watched Robots, but I feel like we already talked about that on the podcast. But pretty soon, now that it is December, I will be watching some Christmas movies. I actually did pick up 2 different like DVD bundle packs from our local Walmart. So I'm going to start watching a lot of those because I feel like it's time now that it's December. And I love all those movies. Last night, I did rearrange my office space, which is what I call it, but realistically, it's just a room filled with all of my Funko Pops and then my desk here where I do record the podcast. So I'm pretty excited with how it's turning out so far. I moved my desk so that I can look out the window, and that actually opened up basically a whole wall where I now have my Stranger Things and Overwatch Pops and some other miscellaneous stuff like the book series with Dr. Seuss, the Grinch. So yeah, I'm really liking how the room is coming along. Obviously, you guys see it in our other videos where we kind of have that backdrop. So that corner's staying the same, but the opposite corner, which we may show off in a future video, I still need to get some pops on there because I currently have a ton lying on the floor. But I think that's about all that's been going on with me.
We'll move on now to the segment of talking about the podcast schedule for the next couple of weeks before we move on to the first set of December 2021 Funko Pop announcements. So I guess we can start off Next week's podcast will be essentially, obviously, whatever next week's set of Funko Pop announcements are, but it will actually be the top 10 Funko Pops of December 2021. And you guys are probably thinking, why are we doing a top 10 list right in the middle of the month instead of closer to the end of the month? And that's mainly because as long of collectors as we've been, we've kind of figured out that Funko starts really slowing down on Funko Pop announcements when it comes to the middle of December because of the Christmas holidays. So normally, if there are announcements, it's going to be companies like Hot Topic and Pop Culture that will announce like their own exclusive pops and not Funko. So normally we just do that there. Plus, we have cool podcasts coming out in the next couple of weeks, which the next podcast actually after that will be our podcast titled The Best and Worst of 2021. This is a podcast we started off last year with the best and worst of 2020, and we're returning it in 2021. And you guys will actually be getting this podcast earlier than normal. I believe it's either the Wednesday or Thursday that you guys will be getting this podcast, because the Friday that December falls on for this week is actually the 24th, which is Christmas Eve. And the same thing happened last year where the podcast would have landed on Christmas Day, but we thought, you know what, it's better off to spend time with family instead of listening to a podcast. So we essentially would give you guys the podcast earlier than normal for the content during that week, because we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That specific week will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The following week after that will actually be the last week that we have Monday, Wednesday, Friday content. It will be back on the Friday for the podcast, and that is the top 50 Funko Pops of 2021. We actually have been doing this podcast for now the third year in a row. We did the top 50 Pops of 2019, 2020, and now 2021, which actually surprisingly, this actually will be the second time in 2021 on a technicality that we do the top 50 list, because we did have the top 50 Pops of 2020 release on January 1st, 2021. And now we have the top 50 Pops of 2021 releasing New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2021. We're actually going to be recording that podcast next week. So that's going to be pretty sweet, recording that podcast next week, along with the podcast that essentially would be next week for you guys listening to this, the one on the top 10 Funko Pops of December 2021. Then the next podcast, which will be the last one we talk about, releasing on Friday, January 7th, during the first week that we start doing 5 days of content every week, will actually be a podcast titled The Top 10 Wish List of 2022. And we actually recorded that podcast yesterday as we are recording this. We recorded that podcast yesterday, and it's set to release on January 7th, 2022. And normally that's actually a segment we do on the pod. And actually, if we would have kept that as just a segment and not a full-on pod, it would have been on today's podcast, believe it or not, that you're listening to. But we decided to make a full-on podcast about it. So it's going to be an awesome podcast. We definitely had some sweet wish list Funko Pop lineups and pops overall for that podcast that we recorded yesterday and will be released on January 7th, 2022. So definitely excited. And I hope you guys are excited too for the next few weeks of top 10 pops of December 2021, the best and worst of 2021, top 50 pops of 2021, and then of course the top 10 wish list for 2022 for the next few weeks. Exciting lineup of content as terms to the podcast happening in the next few weeks. Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off, and also free shipping over $75 in both Canada and the US with duty fees included.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code Funko Popcast for 10% off.
But anyways, guys, let's move on to the first set of December 2021 Funko Pop announcements. So kicking off on December 1st, we got ourselves a brand new wave of NBA pops, which this lineup has all common pops of Zion Williamson, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant, which these are expected to release as early as January 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced, or they did a video of like 360 rotating spins of all of the Festival of Fun exclusives, but they actually added a new pop to that, and that is a Black Diamond Collection shredder for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lineup. And it's unknown of when this is actually releasing because there has been no photos yet of people obtaining this pop while Festival of Fun was happening. Then on December 2nd, Funko had announced the next pop involved in the Funko Fridays over at Target Artist Series lineup of Ninja Turtles pops, and we got ourselves Leonardo, which this is available now both online and in stores. On that same day, Hot Topic had announced their own exclusive pop of Monokuma of Danganronpa 3, which this is available now online and in stores at Hot Topic. Then on December 3rd, Funko had announced another set of pops for the Disney Plus series Hawkeye, which we got ourselves a new variant of Kate Bishop with the crossbow, which will be exclusive to Amazon, and then a pop of Maya Lopez, which will be a common pop. And these are expected to release as early as February 2022. Then on December 4th, Pop Culture had announced an exclusive Pop Deluxe of Tinkerbell, which unknown yet of where this is going to be exclusive to in North America, but this is available now on the Pop Culture website with restricted shipping to the US. Then on December 5th, Pop Culture had announced the LA Comic-Con exclusive pops that were released over the weekend for LA Comic-Con, but now is available with a special edition sticker. So we got ourselves Doppelganger Spider-Man, which is a metallic pop. And then we have Two-Face from the Batman animated series, in which these are available for pre-order on the Pop Culture website. And of course, these were available if you had attended LA Comic-Con that happened this past weekend, and also should be releasing soon at Hot Topic in North America. Then on December 6th, Funko had announced another pop involved in the Artist Series lineup of Disney pops, and we got ourselves Conductor Mickey, which this is an Amazon exclusive, and this is expected to release as early as March 2022. On that same day, Pop Culture had confirmed an exclusive pop of Azrael, oh my God, I can't pronounce that. A new variant of Batman, I will say, in which this is available now on Pop Culture's website with restricted shipping to the US, I believe. Then, last but not least, December 7th, Funko had announced a couple of Star Wars pops from two different Star Wars lineups. First off, we have ourselves a Pop Deluxe of the Ronin and B556 from the new Disney Plus series Star Wars Visions, which will be exclusive to Target. And then we have ourselves two pops for the Mandalorian lineup, which first we got ourselves Grogu using the Force, and then a chrome Mandalorian holding Grogu with a pin, both of these being exclusive to Amazon. And these are expected to release as early as January 2022. So kicking off with the NBA pops that we have here. These are okay. There's nothing really to say about NBA pops that we haven't said on previous editions of a Funko Popcast. They have the same pose, except they just like doing the color swaps of the jerseys, except that these are like weird. Like they don't normally have like the team. There's a couple of them where like it doesn't show the actual like team name. Like example with Damian Lillard, it says Rip City and not whatever team he is on. I don't really watch basketball all that much, so I don't know if maybe these could now be like alternate jerseys, kind of like what we see with like NHL a lot. But these are all right. I mean, I feel like with some of the ones on the second photo with like Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, those are kind of boring in my opinion. This is like the 13th LeBron James pop probably this year that we've gotten announced, especially with the Space Jam and new Legacy pops. And then we have ourselves the Black Diamond Collection Shredder, which this was a very odd announcement. Like, it's not surprising because Funko likes to do these like last minute Comic-Con announcements. We've gotten so many times, like from New York Comic-Con, I want to say last year we had that like Diamond Collection Hello Kitty and then the future of Boba Fett. And then I want to say something happened at, FunCon, the last minute reveal of the Jack in the Box, which MD Shady actually owns. That happened. It's weird that they announced a Black Diamond Collection Shredder But as far as I know, this thing didn't actually release during Festival of Fun, because I know some Instagram pages that actually went to the Festival of Fun over at ECCC this past weekend and took photos of every pop that there was there, even the limited piece counts. And this was not shown in it. So maybe whoever filmed this video or filmed the 360 rotating spins accidentally put that on there and they didn't double check that, like, oh, well, this pop's not going to be releasing for Festival of Fun. But my opinion on this pop, I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I mean, the black is all right, and I don't know how I feel about having some glitter slapped onto it. So I guess that'll be more of an MD Shady thing to talk about, since he is a big fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lineup. Speaking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we have the Artist Series Leonardo, which I basically mentioned last week. We kind of figured once we talked about the Raphael and the Donatello that with the weeks to come, there's going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Artist Series pops. And it's kind of predictable that we were going to get Leonardo next. It's the last Ninja Turtle. And now at this point, if these are ending, I want to say they said the 17th they're going to end with these. I think there's been photos surfacing around of an Artist Series Splinter, and I don't know what the other one would be. Probably Shredder, if I were to predict correctly. It seems like that's the route they'll go. As terms of these pops, I still think, in my opinion, the Raphael looks the best compared to the 4 Ninja Turtles we've gotten. Overall, they're still not the greatest pops. Then we got Monokuma, which I've never heard before, but I do like the overall design and how like it looks like it's just like a half normal teddy bear, and then you got like this demonic side to this teddy bear. It's from an animation because it is in the pop animation lineup, but I've never heard of this until this point. It looks pretty decent. Not my cup of tea, but I don't know. Then we have the new pops for the Hawkeye lineup, Kate Bishop and the Maya Lopez, I think her name was. I have been trying to catch up on Hawkeye, and I've been meaning to catch up on I'm now 2 episodes behind now, as I realized, because today, as we're recording this, Wednesday the 8th, I believe, the new episode of Hawkeye launched. So now I'm 2 episodes behind on Hawkeye, and I've been meaning to watch the episode before so that I know of this character of Maya Lopez. I don't know if like maybe she's a relative of Kate Bishop, or it's just like some other random character that's like maybe her friend. But I do like this Kate Bishop pop because it's pretty cool that she actually has the crossbow, since she's kind of side by side with Hawkeye during the series. And then the other pop, I can't really say much because I don't know of the character at all, since I have not seen the episode. But I can't wait to see more Hawkeye pops that I guess really kind of blow my mind compared to these ones. Like these ones really don't blow my mind, but they're all right. Then we got ourselves the Pop Deluxe of Tinkerbell, which this is pretty sweet. I mean, it's Tinkerbell. You got kind of like the sew with like the string there. I think that's really decent. I can't remember exactly like what happens in this scene in Peter Pan, because this is part of the Peter Pan lineup. It's been so long since I've seen Peter Pan. I think honestly, the last time I seen Peter Pan was when they did the movie Hook that features Robin Williams. I think that's literally the last time I've seen any sort of Peter Pan, but it's been a while since I've seen the actual Disney Peter Pan. So I can't really relate to this all that much. Then we got the LA Comic-Con pops of Doppelganger Spider-Man and Two-Face from the Batman animated series. Doppelganger Spider-Man looks pretty sweet. I like the detail of the mouth and just overall how you have so many arms involved with this Doppelganger Spider-Man. I think it's pretty decent. I don't really like the fact that it's metallic, because that blue color just looks a little dark and just not the greatest, and especially the red too. Like it looks more of a maroon color, even though Pop Culture also had listed on their website a normal version, except they used the same photo that they used for here. They have it listed the same price as the LA Comic-Con version, and it says it's restricted shipping to both Canada and the US, which normally for commons, because it is a common and it's available everywhere, it shouldn't be restricted shipping anywhere. So I think it's kind of like a bit of a mishap on Pop Culture's website. So I think at the moment there's only a metallic version until Funko does like a huge lineup of Spider-Man pops that might include a normal version of this one. But overall, the overall design is pretty cool with this. And the Two-Face is actually pretty decent too. It's cool to see some more Batman the Animated Series Funko Pops, because I know a lot of people have been requesting some new pops from that lineup, and here we are with Two-Face. And I kind of like this version of Two-Face and how it's like a blue skin instead of how I'm used to seeing him, where it's like Tommy Lee Jones and you got like the pink cap face. We got ourselves the Conductor Mickey from the Artist Series lineup of Amazon, and I don't know what it is, but I don't feel that much hatred towards this Artist Series pop. Like, I look at all the Disney Artist Series pops that we have gotten so far, like let's say the Robin Hood and the Winnie the Pooh. And normally with those kind of Artist Series pops, you look at it and it's like, all right, you got this one bright solid color, and then you just add random things. Like for Winnie the Pooh, it's like honey pots and balloons, something to go along with that. And then with Robin Hood, it's just a bunch of bow and arrows and kind of following that trend. But this kind of like, I like the idea of it being a dark color as the main color. And then you have a bunch of bright colors that really make it pop out. It kind of actually looks more like art than the actual other Artist Series Disney pops we've gotten. Then we have the Batman pop that I keep butchering the name. I don't know if it's Azrael. I don't even know how it's pronounced, but it's from the Batman Arkham Knight video game series, I'm pretty sure. And this is pretty decent. I know this pop has been out for a while now. I will say that. I know this was, I think, a Walgreens exclusive in the US, and it did release in Toys R Us in Canada. But of course, we need to find actual like glam shot proof from reliable websites and not from some of your favorite pages. Like, I don't want to name drop pages, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about as some of these pages that like to say, hey, look, this pop's coming out. This is a pretty decent looking Batman per se, because of course, when you think of Batman, obviously you don't think of Batman looking like this. So it's pretty cool that we have different versions of Batman that look nothing like your typical Batman. And then we got ourselves the Star Wars Visions pop of the Ronin and the droid there. I forget the name, B556, I think it is actually now as I think about it. This is pretty decent. I like the overall design of this and how it's kind of a bit dark, because I know that with Visions, I'm pretty sure it's Star Wars take on like their own anime from what I've heard. And I haven't seen the series, unfortunately, but I've heard nothing but good things. And I do plan on watching this. And it looks pretty interesting. Like, I like how it's all kind of dark, and then you have that red lightsaber that really pops out essentially for this. So I'm really excited to see this. I like the design of this droid. Overall, I'm really enjoying this, and seeing pops like this makes me want to see Visions even more than I already do. And then to end off the Funko Pop announcements for this week, and I think it's a good way to end off with the Mandalorian, we have Grogu using the Force, which I think is pretty decent. I kind of like the base that they use for this, actually, because it's more of a wooden colored base instead of the typical black base. And I like how you have Grogu's eyes partially shut, like he is trying to use the Force. I think it's pretty sweet. And then the Mandalorian pop we have here is also pretty decent because of the fact that this is the 4-inch version of the 10-inch version that released last year, because last year all we got was the 10-inch version of the Mandalorian that's chrome for the helmet, holding Grogu that's using the jetpack to fly. And now we have it as not only a 4-inch version, but it also comes with a pin, which is pretty sweet if you already have some of these across the galaxy pops with the Star Wars set. So I think these are pretty cool.
All right, starting off with the new wave of NBA pops. These aren't bad. I'm definitely liking some of the names that they went with for this lineup. And I think that some of these like jersey changes look pretty cool. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure either. They must be some sort of alt jerseys, but I think they definitely look good. And like I said, the names that they picked was pretty good as well. I really enjoy the James Harden. I think that that might be one of the better James Harden pops that we've seen. I don't know what it is about it, but I do like that one. I think the hair, kind of how it's parted, looks really nice. And I feel like that's also my favorite Russell Westbrook pop that we've seen. I like the purple jersey. I like the pose with just the basketball on the side. I think that's good. So overall, this isn't a bad wave of NBA pops by any means. Then we have the Black Diamond Collection Shredder. And I don't know how I feel about this exactly. I think that it's kind of neat because it is all black with the diamond collection. I feel like that would make it look pretty decent. I don't know like what this is going to be exclusive to, if it is going to be exclusive to anything, because we really don't know much about it. But I might end up buying this. I don't know, because I am kind of trying to collect more of the Turtles pops, and eventually I will run out of turtle pops that I at least want to collect. So this might end up landing in my collection at some point. Then moving on to the artist series Leonardo. This is probably the worst out of the four, in my opinion, which is unfortunate because Leonardo is my favorite turtle. But I have thought about these pops for the past week. I think I've been really thinking about them, and I have decided I will be buying these pops because I feel like I do kind of need to add artist series. I like to, even if I don't agree with exactly some of the things that Funko does, or I just don't like the product, I usually do add one of like each kind of new kind of pop. And I feel like these are going to be the best that are catered towards me. So why not buy these four? And like I said, I've been trying to pick up more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pops as the weeks have been going by. Then we have the Monokuma from Danganronpa 3. This is a cool looking pop. I really like this pop. I feel like there's a lot that we could do with this pop. Like we could see this pop flocked. We can see this pop diamond collection, which I think wouldn't look too bad. Maybe even an artist series of this pop, I think could actually turn out pretty decently. But this is a pretty cool looking pop. Like it's interesting to me because I feel like this could be a pop that sells out at Hot Topics, but I also feel like it could be some kind of like shelf sitter because I feel like a lot of people probably don't know what it is. So I don't know, but it definitely is a decent looking pop, and it almost reminds me of like a Cause figure, which makes me kind of feel like this pop like should have like a huge value on it, which I don't know if the value will go up drastically, at least anytime soon, for not at least a few years. Then we have the new Hawkeye pops, and I really need to watch Hawkeye. I really do plan on it because I do like the character of Hawkeye, and I feel like the show is going to be good because I've heard from multiple people that so far it is a great show. So I definitely need to watch it. These pops look okay. I mean, the Hawkeye pops are kind of all very similar, but I feel like people that are going to be huge fans of the show are definitely going to want to get these, kind of like in the sense of when WandaVision was released, the pops for that were going crazy for sure. Then we have the new deluxe pop of Tinkerbell. This is pretty sweet. I really like this version of Tinkerbell. This might be my favorite Tinkerbell pop that's ever been released. I do own the Diamond Collection Tinkerbell, but I feel like this has definitely got to be the best one. I mean, the pose is great. The base looks really cool. And I probably will end up picking up this pop, not for myself, but actually for my mom. I feel like this would be a cool pop to kind of get her collection going because she currently doesn't own any pops, but she loves Tinkerbell. So I don't see why she wouldn't love this pop. Then we have the metallic doppelganger Spider-Man. This is a really cool looking pop. I don't think it needs to be metallic because, like DK kind of said, it does change that color of the red to like a maroon kind of burgundy color, where that's not really what you want out of a Spider-Man pop unless it's like, let's say, like the OG Spider-Man with this kind of colorway. I think that would look cool. But when it's a brand new pop like this, you don't need to have it metallic. I mean, it could have been even glow in the dark, have the eyes and the teeth glow or something, and that would have been a better thing to slap on the pop rather than it being metallic. But overall, this pop does look cool, and hopefully there will be a more common version that comes out because I feel like that one will be the one to get. And then we have the Two-Face from the Batman animated series. And this pop is ridiculously awesome. I love this pop so much. The Batman animated series is so cool. The pops always look great. I don't know why I haven't started collecting these pops because there's so many cool characters like Man Bat or whatever it is. There's a Poison Ivy. I mean, there's that one character, I forget what his name is, where he looks like he's like mud. The Batman looks cool. The Robin looks cool. This whole set's amazing. And I can't believe we haven't seen a Two-Face until now, but I'm glad we do have it now. And it looks great. I will definitely be picking this up and starting to collect the Batman animated series. Then we have the Conductor Mickey Artist Series pop. This is the best artist series ever released so far, in my opinion. I think that it is done pretty decently. I mean, there's nothing that makes me just hate this pop at all. So that's good. And I think it could have been like blown out of the water the best Artist Series pop if they would have done one thing, and that is to add red and white treble clefs around this pop in some places, maybe right on those lines. Obviously, this pop is to deal with music to some extent, so I feel like a treble clef or some other kind of music note would have looked amazing on this, and it would have made it be definitely the best Artist Series pop of all time. But it is definitely the top in my mind, at least. I don't know if we'll ever see something that beats this for Artist Series because we're just not a huge fan of them, but this pop is pretty decent. Then we have the Azrael Batman, and I know nothing about this version of Batman. I do see that it's from Arkham City, I believe, the video game. This is really interesting. It looks almost like if three things were combined, and those three things are Assassin's Creed, Spawn, and what's that game? God, I can't remember. Apex Legends. It looks like if you combine those three things and you get this, doesn't look like Batman, but obviously it's not supposed to look like Batman. Overall, this is a pretty cool, very detailed pop, and I feel like it's probably selling well. I know it's been out for a while, so I feel like a lot of people are going to want to get this because you don't really see a whole lot of Batman pops that are just completely different. We do see a whole lot of Batman pops, and some of them are different, but this is just a lot different than most of the stuff we normally see. Then we have the, whether it's a Moments or Deluxe pop for the Vision series of Star Wars. And this is pretty dang cool looking. I mean, it really gives you samurai vibes, but then obviously like you have a droid right there, which is cool, where he kind of has like a hay kind of hat, like a straw hat on, which is interesting. And then like overall, this is cool. And it makes me really want to watch this version of Star Wars Visions because this is so different than anything we've ever seen with Star Wars, really. Like I know we've seen the Clone Wars, which was pretty different from other Star Wars stuff we've seen. And then we had Rebels, which was also very different, which it was kind of the same as Clone Wars in a sense for animation style. But now we have this Visions kind of show, and I think it's very interesting, very eye-catching, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people want to get this pop. And lastly, we have two new pops for the Mandalorian. We have the Grogu using the Force, and I mean, DK summed it up pretty well. I mean, this thing looks good because his eyes are kind of squinted. It really makes him look like he's using the Force rather than them just giving the huge open eyes, and it kind of just looks like Grogu's trying to give you a hug. And that base that it comes with looks great. I do like it a lot more than having just your standard black base. I feel like it almost resembles the actual point in the show where he's kind of on that rock. So that's a good thing. And then we have the Mando with the chrome helmet holding Grogu. And this is awesome, especially if you have nowhere to display 10-inch pops. You get the 4-inch variant, which I might actually do because I think that this is a great version of the Mandalorian, especially because you have the chrome helmet, which looks amazing. And then you also have Grogu added in there. So it's almost a pop and buddy. And then obviously the pop overall looks good because he's got the fire coming out of the jetpack, which is really nice. And then you get the pin added with it, which I think is a decent added detail. Is that pin amazing? No, not really, but it is cool that it is added in there.
All right, guys. So that is going to be the end of this week's podcast. If you enjoyed this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, make sure you smash that like button. Comment in the comment section below and let us know your opinions on the first set of December 2021 Funko Pop announcements. Press that subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future. And press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. And if you guys haven't yet, follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Popcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, and we hope to see you guys next week for the top 10 Funko Pops of December 2021. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Cowabunga, dude. Peace in, peace out.